It was a crisp autumn afternoon in Brookfield, a small town where life moved at a steady pace. The golden leaves crunched under Marcus Carter's worn-out sneakers as he walked home from school, clutching his beat-up backpack. At 16, Marcus was no stranger to challenges. Living in a modest home with his mother, who worked 2 jobs to make ends meet, he understood the value of hard work and honesty. As he strolled along the quiet sidewalk, something caught his eye near the edge of the park bench, a black leather wallet. Marcus hesitated for a moment, glancing around to see if someone might have dropped it nearby. The park was almost deserted, save for a few joggers and a mother pushing a stroller in the distance. Curiosity got the better of him, and he picked up the wallet. It was surprisingly heavy, and the smooth leather felt expensive, nothing like the worn-out canvas wallet he carried. Opening it carefully, he saw an ID card, a gold credit card, and several $100 bills neatly tucked inside. Marcus's jaw dropped. He had never seen so much money in his life. For a brief second, a thought crossed his mind. What if he kept it? This money could help his mom pay the overdue rent, buy groceries, or even fix the leaky roof. But almost instantly, he shook his head. That wasn't who he was. Who does this belong to? He muttered to himself, scanning the ID card. The name read Nathaniel Rhodes, and the address listed was in the upscale part of town, miles away from where Marcus lived. The realization hit him. This wasn't just any wallet. It belonged to someone important, someone wealthy. The sound of an approaching car startled him, and he quickly zipped the wallet shut, clutching it tightly. Marcus decided right then and there he would return it. What he didn't know was that this single act of honesty was about to set off a chain of events that would change his life forever. The walk home felt longer than usual, the weight of the wallet in his hand heavier than it should have been. Marcus couldn't stop thinking about the name on the ID card, Nathaniel Rhodes. The name sounded familiar, but he couldn't quite place it. Maybe he'd seen it on a billboard or overheard it on TV. As he stepped into his small house, his mother, Denise, greeted him with a tired smile. She was sitting at the kitchen table flipping through a pile of overdue bills. "Hey baby, how was school?" she asked, though her eyes betrayed her exhaustion. "It was fine," Marcus replied, slipping the wallet into his pocket. He didn't want to worry her. Not yet. He hurried to his room, shutting the door behind him. Sitting on his bed, he pulled out the wallet again, this time taking a closer look at its contents. There was no phone number, but there was an embossed business card tucked inside. It read, Nathaniel Rhodes, CEO, Rhodes International Group. Marcus's heart skipped a beat. Rhodes International Group was everywhere. On TV commercials, social media ads, and even his school's donated computer lab bore the company's name. This wasn't just a wealthy man. This was the billionaire Nathaniel Rhodes, one of the richest men in the country. "Man," Marcus whispered, leaning back against the wall. For a moment, the enormity of the situation overwhelmed him. Why couldn't someone else have found this wallet? Why did it have to be him? The practical side of him knew what he had to do. But a tiny, nagging voice whispered, "Why give it back?" A voice that reminded him of the bills piled up on the kitchen table, the second-hand textbooks he struggled with at school, and the look of quiet despair on his mother's face every time the landlord knocked. But deep down, Marcus knew there was only one choice. His mom had always taught him to do the right thing, no matter how hard it was. He grabbed his old phone, Googled Nathaniel Rhodes's company, and found a customer service number. His hands trembled as he dialed. "Thank you for calling Rhodes International Group," an automated voice said. "Please hold while we connect you to a representative." After a few rings, a polite voice answered. "Rhodes International Group, how may I assist you?" Hi," Marcus stammered. I found something that belongs to Mr. Nathaniel Rhodes. I was wondering if I could return it to him." There was a brief pause, and Marcus could almost hear the skepticism in the representative's voice. "And what exactly did you find?" "A wallet," Marcus replied. "It has his ID and other stuff." The line went silent for a moment before the voice returned. this time more serious. "Please hold. I'll transfer you to someone who can assist you further." Marcus's heart pounded as he waited, his mind racing. He had no idea that this phone call would be the first step into a world he'd never imagined. The next day felt surreal. Marcus had barely slept the night before, running through every possible scenario in his mind. Would they believe him? Would they think he stole the wallet? What if they didn't care at all? By mid-morning, Marcus stood at the front door of a towering skyscraper in the heart of the city. He had never been to this part of town before. Everything looked pristine: sleek glass buildings, luxury cars, and people in expensive suits walking with purpose. Clutching the wallet tightly, Marcus approached the front desk in the gleaming lobby. A polished receptionist greeted him with a practiced smile. "Good morning. How may I assist you?" Marcus cleared his throat. I'm here to return something to Mr. Nathaniel Rhodes." The receptionist's smile faltered slightly as her eyes scanned him. She looked at his scuffed sneakers, his hoodie, and his oversized backpack, then back at his face. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, but I called yesterday. Someone told me to come here," Marcus said, his voice wavering slightly. The receptionist raised a perfectly arched eyebrow, but picked up the phone. After a brief conversation in hushed tones, she hung up and nodded. "Mr. Rhodes's assistant will meet you shortly. Please have a seat." Marcus sat in one of the plush leather chairs, fidgeting nervously. His surroundings felt intimidating: marble floors, abstract art on the walls, and people walking past him without a second glance. He couldn't help but feel out of place. A few minutes later, a tall, sharply dressed man approached. "You must be Marcus," he said, extending a hand. "I'm James, Mr. Rhodes's personal assistant. Thank you for coming. Follow me, please." Marcus followed James to a private elevator, his anxiety growing with each passing second. The ride up to the top floor was silent, except for the soft hum of the elevator. When the doors opened, Marcus was greeted by an expansive office with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a breathtaking view of the city. Sitting behind a sleek wooden desk was Nathaniel Rhodes himself. Marcus recognized him immediately from magazine covers and TV interviews. The man exuded power and confidence, with sharp features, silver-streaked hair, and a piercing gaze that seemed to look right through him. "Come in," Rhodes said, his deep voice commanding yet calm. Marcus stepped forward, holding out the wallet. "Sir, I found this yesterday. I wanted to return it." Rhodes stood and walked toward him, taking the wallet. He opened it and quickly inspected its contents. "Everything's here," he said almost to himself. Then he looked at Marcus, his expression unreadable. "Young man," Rhodes began, "do you have any idea how much trouble you could have caused me if this had fallen into the wrong hands?" Marcus froze, unsure how to respond. I just thought it was the right thing to do, sir." Rhodes studied him for a moment, and then something unexpected happened. He smiled. It wasn't a wide smile, but it was genuine. "Honesty is a rare trait these days," Rhodes said, his tone softening. "Tell me, what's your name?" "Marcus Carter." "Well, Marcus Carter, you've done me a great service, and I believe in rewarding people who do the right thing." Marcus blinked, unsure of what he meant. "Oh no, sir. I don't need anything. I just wanted to give it back." But Rhodes shook his head. "Nonsense. You'll see soon enough." Before Marcus could respond, Rhodes gestured to James. "Get Marcus's contact information. I want to see him again." Marcus left the office that day, still unsure of what had just happened. But one thing was clear: this was only the beginning. A few days later, Marcus was back at school trying to focus on his math homework during study hall. His mind kept wandering back to the strange meeting with Nathaniel Rhodes. The billionaire's words had lingered in his head. "I believe in rewarding people who do the right thing." Just as he was about to give up on solving a particularly tricky equation, his phone buzzed in his pocket. It was a number he didn't recognize. Hesitating for a moment, he stepped into the hallway and answered. "Hello? Marcus Carter?" The voice on the other end was firm but polite. "Yes, this is Marcus. This is James, Mr. Rhodes's assistant. Mr. Rhodes would like to invite you to his estate this Saturday for lunch. He has a proposition he'd like to discuss with you. Marcus's heart raced. His estate? Why me? James chuckled lightly. Let's just say Mr. Rhodes doesn't forget when someone does him a favor. Shall I confirm your attendance? Marcus swallowed hard. Yeah, I'll be there. Excellent. A car will pick you up at noon. Dress comfortably, and we'll see you then. The call ended, leaving Marcus standing in the hallway staring at his phone. A mix of excitement and anxiety bubbled inside him. He'd never been invited anywhere like this before. What could a billionaire possibly want with a teenager like him? Saturday arrived quickly, and Marcus found himself nervously waiting on his front porch. True to their word, a sleek black car pulled up at exactly noon. The driver, a friendly older man, greeted him with a warm smile and opened the door for him. As the car glided through the wealthy part of town, Marcus couldn't help but stare out the window. The houses were massive, each one more extravagant than the last. Finally, the car turned onto a long driveway, lined with perfectly trimmed hedges. At the end stood an enormous mansion that looked like it belonged in a movie. The driver opened the door for Marcus, who stepped out, feeling completely out of his element. James was already waiting at the entrance, his sharp suit as immaculate as ever. Marcus, welcome, James said. Come inside. Mr. Rhodes is expecting you. The interior of the mansion was even more breathtaking than the exterior. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, and priceless artwork adorned every corner. Marcus tried not to gawk as he followed James through the grand hallway. They entered a sunlit dining room where Nathaniel Rhodes was seated at the head of a long table, reading something on his tablet. He looked up as they entered and stood, extending his hand. Marcus, good to see you again. Thank you for inviting me, sir, Marcus said, shaking his hand. Please sit, Rhodes said, gesturing to a chair across from him. As lunch was served, steak, roasted vegetables, and a dessert that looked too fancy to eat, Marcus couldn't help but feel out of place. But Rhodes's demeanor put him at ease. Finally, after some small talk, Rhodes leaned forward, his expression serious. Marcus, do you know why I invited you here? Marcus shook his head. You reminded me of something important, Rhodes began. In my world, honesty is rare. People will do anything for money, power, or influence, but you, someone with so little, chose to do the right thing. That's something I can't ignore. Marcus shifted in his seat, unsure of what to say. I want to help you, Rhodes continued. You have potential, Marcus, but I imagine you haven't been given many opportunities to show it. Marcus's eyes widened. Help me? How? Rhodes smiled. Let's start with this. A scholarship. I'll cover your tuition to any school or college you want to attend. And that's just the beginning. Marcus froze, his fork clattering onto his plate. A scholarship? For real? For real, Rhodes said with a chuckle. This is your chance to dream big, Marcus, but it's up to you to take it. Marcus sat there stunned. His life had just taken a turn he never could have imagined. The news of Nathaniel Rhodes offering Marcus a scholarship felt like a dream Marcus couldn't wake up from. By the time the car dropped him back home, his mind was spinning. He tried to tell his mom everything, about the mansion, the lunch, and the billionaire's offer. But the words came out in a jumbled mess. Slow down, Marcus, his mom said, her brows furrowed. Mr. Rhodes is giving you a scholarship? Just like that? Marcus nodded, his excitement bubbling over. He said it was because I was honest, Mom. He thinks I have potential. She sank onto the couch, staring at him. Marcus, this could change everything. Do you understand that? Everything. Marcus did. For the first time, he allowed himself to imagine a future that didn't feel so out of reach. College, a good career, a life where he didn't have to worry about whether they could pay the rent each month. But it wasn't long before the news spread beyond their tiny apartment. By the end of the week, Marcus's school was buzzing with rumors. Some kids congratulated him, but others weren't so kind. Must be nice to have a billionaire hand you a free ride, one boy sneered as Marcus passed him in the hallway. Yeah, another chimed in. What did you do? Beg for it? The comments stung, but Marcus held his head high. He knew the truth, and he wasn't about to let jealousy ruin this for him. A few days later, Marcus was back in Nathaniel Rhodes's office, but this time the atmosphere felt different. Rhodes wasn't just a billionaire anymore. He was a mentor. "Marcus," Rhodes began, leaning back in his chair, "before we finalize the scholarship, I need to know something." Marcus sat up straighter, feeling the weight of the moment. "Yes, sir." "What do you want to do with your life? What are your goals?" The question caught Marcus off guard. No one had ever asked him that before, not like they actually cared about the answer. I'm not sure yet," Marcus admitted. "But I want to do something that matters, something that makes my mom proud." Rhodes smiled faintly. "That's a good start. But here's the thing. You don't have to figure it all out right now. What's important is that you're willing to work hard and take advantage of the opportunities you're given." Marcus nodded, his chest tightening with determination. "I won't let you down, sir." "I know you won't," Rhodes said. "And just so you know, this scholarship is only the beginning. I want to keep an eye on you, Marcus. If you prove yourself, there's a lot more I can do to help you. But it all depends on you." For the first time, Marcus felt the full weight of the opportunity he'd been given. It wasn't just about money or education, it was about trust. Nathaniel Rhodes was trusting him to rise to the occasion, to make something of himself, and to prove that one act of honesty could change a life. By the time Marcus left the office that day, he was no longer just a kid who found a wallet. He was someone with a future, a purpose, and a fire in his heart that couldn't be extinguished. Life changed quickly for Marcus after that second meeting with Nathaniel Rhodes. Within weeks, the scholarship had been finalized, and Marcus was enrolled in a prestigious prep school across town. A place where the classrooms were filled with advanced technology, the teachers held PhDs, and the students wore designer clothes. Walking into the school on his first day, Marcus felt like a fish out of water. The hallways gleamed, the lockers were spotless, and the other kids glanced at him like he didn't belong. "Hey," a girl said as he struggled to find his first class. She was blonde, dressed in a crisp uniform, and carried an air of confidence that Marcus found intimidating. "You're new, right?" "Yeah," Marcus replied hesitantly. "I'm Claire. Need help?" Yeah. I'm looking for room 204. She smiled. "Come on, I'll show you. Mr. Patel's class, right? He's tough but fair." As they walked, Marcus couldn't help but feel the weight of everyone's stares. Whispers followed him down the hall. "Isn't that the kid Mr. Rhodes sponsored? What's he doing here?" Probably some kind of charity case. Marcus kept his head down, pretending not to hear. Claire, however, noticed the murmurs and gave him a reassuring smile. "Don't let them get to you," she said quietly. "People here can be judgmental, but you'll prove them wrong." Mr. Patel's class was indeed challenging, but Marcus quickly realized that he liked the challenge. The prep school pushed him in ways his old school never had, and he started to see himself grow. At first, he struggled to keep up. The other students had years of advanced classes under their belts, and Marcus often found himself staying up late to catch up on material he'd never learned. But he refused to give up. Late one evening, he sat at the dining table, surrounded by textbooks and notes. His mom walked in, holding 2 mugs of hot chocolate. "You've been at this for hours, baby," she said, setting one down in front of him. "I have to, Mom," Marcus said, rubbing his eyes. "This place, it's no joke. If I mess this up, I'll be letting everyone down. Mr. Rhodes, you, myself." She placed a hand on his shoulder. "You're not letting anyone down. Just take it one step at a time, okay? You've already made it further than most people ever dreamed." Her words gave him the boost he needed to keep going. By the end of the first semester, Marcus's hard work began to pay off. He aced his science project, was recognized for his essays in English class, and even joined the school's debate team, where he surprised everyone, including himself, with his natural talent for public speaking. But the most surprising moment came during a school assembly when the principal called Marcus to the stage. Marcus Carter has shown extraordinary determination and character during his short time here, the principal announced. He's a shining example of what perseverance and integrity can achieve. The applause was thunderous, but all Marcus could think about was how far he'd come. From returning a wallet on a random afternoon to standing on this stage, it felt unreal. As he stepped off the stage, Claire caught his eye from the crowd and gave him a thumbs up. That evening, Marcus received a text from Nathaniel Rhodes. "Proud of you, Marcus. This is just the beginning." Marcus smiled, his heart swelling with pride. He typed back, "Thank you, sir. I won't let you down." And he meant it. Months turned into a year, and Marcus's life continued to evolve in ways he'd never imagined. He went from being a quiet, overlooked teen in his old neighborhood to a confident, ambitious young man with a bright future. The scholarship wasn't just about education. It opened doors Marcus didn't even know existed. Through Nathaniel Rhodes, he attended networking events, met influential figures, and even interned at one of Rhodes's companies during the summer. Marcus soaked it all in, determined to make the most of every opportunity. But despite his growing success, Marcus never forgot where he came from. On weekends, he returned to his old neighborhood to visit friends and mentor younger kids at the local community center. He shared his story, hoping to inspire others to believe that honesty, hard work, and perseverance could lead to incredible opportunities. One Friday evening, Marcus found himself back in Rhodes's mansion for dinner. It was different this time, less intimidating, more familiar. They ate in the cozy dining room rather than the grand hall, and Rhodes seemed genuinely proud as he asked Marcus about his school projects and internship experience. "You've done well, Marcus," Rhodes said, setting his glass of water down. "But there's one thing I want you to remember." Marcus leaned in, eager to hear his mentor's advice. "Success is never just about what you achieve, it's about what you give back. One act of kindness, like returning that wallet, can ripple out in ways you'll never fully understand. Always remember to pay it forward." Marcus nodded, the words settling deep in his heart. "I will, Mr. Rhodes. I promise." By the time Marcus graduated from high school, he had a full-ride scholarship to a top-tier university, thanks to his hard work and Rhodes's support. At his graduation ceremony, his mom cheered the loudest, tears streaming down her face. "Baby, you did it," she said, hugging him tightly afterward. "I'm so proud of you." Marcus smiled, his own eyes misty. "We did it, Mom. This is for both of us." Years later, Marcus stood in front of a packed auditorium, delivering a speech as the CEO of his own successful company. He told the audience about that fateful day when he found the wallet, the act of honesty that set everything in motion, and the billionaire who believed in him. "And now," Marcus concluded, "it's my turn to give back. Because no matter where you come from, no matter how small your act of kindness may seem, it has the power to change lives, including your own." The crowd rose to their feet in applause, but Marcus's mind drifted for a moment. He thought about that day in the park, the wallet, and the path it had set him on. Who would have thought that one small act of integrity could lead to all of this? As Marcus left the stage, he felt a deep sense of gratitude. He knew he had come full circle, and he was just getting started.